Shut up. Here's the story. You're in a meeting, you see a mistake, but you stay quiet. Not because you don't know the answer, because speaking up feels risky. Later, you regret it again. How can we avoid all that? Well, let's look to the research. Let's look to a person called Primos. They're breaking through the silence with their research here. As a best-selling author, I'm going to give you my opinions at the end of the research, so stay tuned. This research shows, though, that many employees choose silence over speaking up due to the fear of negative consequence. They think there could be damaged reputation, there could be punishment, there could be conflict. And it's all defined as openly expressing views to improve workplace functioning. It depends heavily on perceived risk and expected outcomes, or so says the research. Nobody wants to rock the boat. Do we want to do it? No, we don't. This study shows that whether people speak up depends on not just fear, but on their personality, especially self-monitoring of so, and the environment. Some people adjust their behavior to situations and are more strategic or cautious about speaking up, and that's okay. But there are ways that we can improve. Because from this research, we find out that speaking up is a decision-making process. It's shaped by our fear of consequences, the workplace environment, the personal traits like confidence and adaptability. So how then can we adapt to these problems? Well, the reality is silence is driven by fear. So says this research. Fear of retaliation is common. That if I say this, they'll say that, they'll use what I say, and oh gosh, it's a fluster in your mind. Silence is often self-protection, and that's fine temporarily, but awareness reduces its control so we can do better. How? Well, if we reframe speaking up as a value, that means speaking up improves organizations. It's not criticism, it's a contribution that should really entirely, if you've been employed and given the management position, be respected. After all, leaders should value contributions. Now, before we make them, perhaps, rather than being silent, assess the risk rather than overestimating it, because people exaggerate negative outcomes. Not all environments punish honesty, whereas if you have rational evaluation, it improves actions. If we can recognize the cost benefit calculation, okay, that means writing down on one piece of the paper the benefits of doing this or saying this, the negativities or the knock-on effects, the cons as such that can happen. Weigh one up against the other. If you can actually put a handicap value to each, you'll figure it out. At least you'll be confident in what you say. Once said, you go with the flow and do it again. Recognize that people weigh risks versus rewards. Some do. You mightn't, but now you can. So speaking up must feel worth it once you make a decision on it and you weigh it up in the proper way. It increases perceived benefits too. Try to develop internal confidence, even if you do things for yourself outside of work, in your relationships, trying to do incrementally different things, join a club, do a new sport, little things that you know should benefit your health or your well-being. These things are going to push you. If you keep questioning yourself and asking of yourself a little bit more, you'll get that a little bit more. See, confidence increases speaking behavior then in turn, and low self-esteem increases your silence. Self-belief reduces fear. That means the self-belief is like a boiling kettle. Eventually it's got to come out, even in steam, in some way. Think of it like that. If there's a will there, you can do it. You just need to get it out of yourself. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button and also comment, good or bad. Let's have a question over and back, and subscribe. Moving on. Understand your personality. Not everybody does. And believe it or not, when people are in workplaces, they're not entirely themselves as they would be at home or in personal relationships. But if you have high self-monitors, you can adapt your behavior. If you know what you are, you can titrate, you can go off in a different direction. Now, you may stay silent if it is to protect an image, and that's fine. But maybe think about changing that image. Awareness helps intentional action. That's a golden thing to think of. Build trust with leadership. Leadership and trust, they're two sides of one coin. People love to see natural leaders who are trusting or open. You mightn't have the badge or the certificate that you're the leader or the name on the door. It doesn't matter. You are showing leadership qualities, eventually you'll get there. Why? Because people like you. And trust reduces perceived risk. Therefore, there's less risk in your competition with the people out there, that is, the companies that are competing with you in the marketplace. You want a safe environment? Well, you've got it through the trustworthy relationships and the ability to lead people and encourage their voice as well as yours. Even if you encourage others' voices, you're speaking up and you're away from your own thoughts, and you're misdirecting your thoughts and distracting yourself, and people will encourage you and say, you know what, you're a great person. I prefer you to speak right now. Relationships, you see, that's what it's all about. They matter more than logic. Try to choose also the right moment and context. You've got to be clever. If you haven't spoken up for a while, okay, let's strategize for a minute. Timing affects the outcomes. You can actually reclaim back and use that silence by cracking a joke at the right time in a meeting. And people will go, oh my gosh, he was waiting in the long grass. Yeah, maybe you were, because you were strategizing, you were thinking. And so it doesn't mean that your 2 ears are open. And if you say, I'm an active listener after all, people will just like burst out. It'll be hilarious. They'll say, well, he speaks. And if you have private settings, remember, they can reduce risk. So if you need to practice it, if you're low on confidence and you want to just practice it, try the joke with somebody before the meeting. Strategy, though, increases success. So think it out and just pick your time. If that's all you do, and boom, the delivery will be perfect. Like building a wall, a foundation, start small and then momentum will come. Little contributions gives gradual exposure, and it will reduce your fear. As you build and you get out there and get that voice, fear is just falling off the pile. Success then reinforces behavior. The more you get out there, the more you get that voice out there, the more it comes back to you. Try to just focus on incremental improvement, and the solutions will be framed ideally. You'll avoid confrontation, especially at the beginning, and align with organizational goals. Look, in my own view, my takeaway is that the real problem isn't that people don't know what to say. It's that they believe it's safe to say nothing. But here's the truth. Silence protects you short term. Speaking up builds your long-term power. Your career doesn't stall because you lack ability. It stalls because you don't speak up about what matters. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. If you subscribe, comment to say that you have, and we'll look after you.